What's up, and welcome back to the Rig Podcast, Episode 5. It is home of your 13-0, undefeated, first place Vernal Oilers. And folks, the only thing that's hotter than this team going into a huge weekend series against Fresno is my wife. And if you aren't on this Oiler bandwagon yet, good luck. Like my close personal friend and hero, Captain Tennille says from Most Extreme Elimination Challenge, let's get it on! Oh, we are not going to run too much on the past weekend. It was fairly simple. It wasn't anything crazy. It went kind of how we thought it was going to go. Right? We played 2 games against the Elk, one at home on Friday night, and then one on the road in Craig. 11-1 on Friday. Scored early again. And like I mentioned with Braedyn, who is our guest, by the way, Braedyn Mooney, number 22 defenseman, is our guest later in the podcast. But like I mentioned to him, I'm not going to take credit. But I did say that we need to work on scoring first. We celebrated that we scored first. And boy, did we score first and often on Friday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 goals before Colorado could get there. And that includes a hat trick for Roni. So, shout out to Captain Nick Moore for letting me know after the game that they scored first, and they were super excited about it. Not only that, but also shout out to Nick Moore. I was in the locker room after the game. I've got skis for feet. They're pretty big. They're size 14s. I don't know where they're at all time. I disrespected the logo in the middle of the floor. It's my bad. And he rightfully so called me out on it, just like you'd want a captain to do, and just said, hey, Tiny, please don't step on the logo. So shout out to you, Nick. And then on Saturday in Craig, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 goals scored first before Colorado could get on the board. And that included a hat trick from one Garrigo Schwartz. So that's where we're at with Friday and Saturday. Walk away still undefeated, 13-0. Now this weekend, we're going to have a battle. We got 3 games. Usually we separate this, right? A recap of the weekend, interview, look ahead for Friday. But this show is all about looking ahead to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Because we welcome the Fresno Monsters here to Vernal in the Western Park Ice Arena. They are coming off a 3-game sweep against the Ontario Junior Reign, who not very many people thought were going to get swept by this team. They sit second in the Pacific right now, 9-3. They sit behind the Lake Tahoe Lakers, who have played 9 more games. But if you do a little math, pick 1, cover the 2, carry over, they have pretty much the same record if you multiply and add to get to the same amount of games. So you could, in all actuality, if they played the same schedule, they could be tied in first if they had also played 21 games instead of 12. They've got 3 guys with 10 goals or above. Erickson, Popchev, Anderson. They have 3 guys with 10 assists or above. That's Newtonen, Toonbrat, and Erickson. That might be Toonbrat. Not sure. I'll get better pronunciation for this weekend. Goalies, they got two goalies. Peter Burke, 5-1, 157 shots through 6 games, 224 goals against, 924 save percentage. And then Marcus Wasasjerna, or Wasasjerna, 4-2, 407 goals against average and 881 save percentage, 226 shots in 7 games. So I would highly expect to see both of them this weekend, whether that's Burke in the first and Wasasjerna in the second. That'll be a fun one to say. Also, happy birthday to him. Saw that it's his birthday. So happy birthday, Marcus. 3-game sweep of Ontario included an 8-3 win, 5-2 win, and a 7-5 win. Now, I'm not supposed to directly talk about fights, but let me tell you something that happened on Saturday's game. I had both the Oilers game on, and I had the Fresno, Ontario game, so I could just watch, see what we were getting into on Friday. This weekend. They will be missing, unless something happened in between now and then, Nick Isaac and Anderson for at least the first game. Now, I'm going to give a huge shout out to those two boys because Ontario, at the end of getting swept in this series, went full on the aggressiveness. Tackled the kid. He got in a fight. Ontario had 2 guys come in. And it just got out of hand super quick to the point where Ontario had 2 guys beating up on 1 guy. For Fresno, you had a guy hop off the bench for Ontario and come in and throw a punch at a kid too. Like, it was absolute insanity. So, again, unless something happened with those 2 kids, McIsaac and Anderson, they're going to be missing, 2 pretty important pieces from what I've watched on Friday. So hopefully, if the league is listening to this, which I've heard that they do, please take a look at that game. There's about 8 minutes left, and I don't think that's how you want this league represented, because it was brutal. It was brutal. Fresno commentator was not happy, and I don't blame him for 1 second. It was absolute insanity. Against teams that are close in record-wise, they're 2-1 against Lake Tahoe Lakers, and then their other loss came to San Diego. If we look kind of at our stats compared to what, let's just say, the goalies were for Ontario, you had Nicholas Charles, former Oiler last year for 3 games. He's 3-5 on the season, a 309 goals against average with a 907 save percentage. And then Dominic McInerney, he's 5-1 with a 214 goals against average, 946 save percentage. So he probably should have gone more, I would imagine, but he got lit up in the first game with 4 goals, or the second game, super quick, just 4 goals. With Hedgie's stats, he's 10-0, 2.17 goals against, 926 save percentage on 271 shots. And this is something that we talked about with Braden, but the one thing that I'm concerned about, I guess, more than anything, is playing a team that's a bit better than what we have been playing. Our last 5 games, 4 of them have been against Colorado. And their shot totals are somewhere between 17 and 25. Fresno averages 42 shots over the last 5 games. 60, 43, 44, 21, 42. Oilers average 70. But we'll get to that in a second. So 42 shots averaged. I don't want to see Hedges take 42 shots. I just don't think that that's something that anyone wants. So we touched on that with Braden. Here are my keys from the limited that I've watched, a couple of games that I've watched, that fortunately for us, the Oilers do very well. We need to move quickly through the neutral zone. The D is pretty slow on getting back and being able to be in a good position. So we need to move quickly through the neutral zone, quickly kind of, and get in front of the net. A lot of their goals are right in front of the net off of breakouts as we get into the offensive zone, drive to the corner, past the center of the net type thing. So getting Roney to the front, getting Nick, getting Press, getting all of these guys to the front, that's going to be a huge benefit for us this weekend. When the Lakers beat them in their 2 games, they beat them because they had a good forecheck. Well, guess what? We all know this because I talk about it nonstop. We've got a great forecheck that we just need to be relentless with all game. Absolutely smother all game. In the defensive zone, we can't allow them to skate around with the puck, so we need to smother the offensive players, but not overextend, not overreach, don't be in bad positions to allow a cheap goal, to allow a cheap shot, whatever. So smother, stay in the passing lanes, stay in the shooting lanes. Big one, don't turn the puck over in your defensive zone. That should be a number 1 key for always. That's going to be super important through this 3-game series because we are not playing a team that's going to take turnovers and then immediately turn it back over to us. This is going to be a team that's going to take turnovers and then be able to do something with them. So do not turn the puck over in the defensive zone. Like I said, drive in center passes to the front of the net when you're on the breakout, when you're going into the zone. They have a hard time stopping that. On the power play, their big goal is going right to left on a pass cross ice. Popchev is always there, so make sure you know where he is. Make sure you know where that winger is on the left at all times because they love to try to go backdoor cross ice. That's going to be big. As far as stats go, power play, they're 32%. We're 81% on the penalty kill. Favors us. Like that. Love that. They run a 3-in-1 umbrella. So, again, all they're doing is trying to shoot, rebound with the 2 guys that are on either side of the net. They're going to rotate as the puck goes, right? So here as the puck moves around the backhand side, cross ice pass, so on and so forth. Our power play sits at 52%. Solid. Their penalty kill, 78%. So we've got a benefit there. That's going to lead to one of my keys that you'll hear about on Friday. Be patient with your cross-ice passes. Don't force that. Take advantage of what they're going to give you, but don't force anything. Play checkers, not chess. Play your game. Don't overcomplicate things because you're playing someone that's a little bit better than what you have been playing. Play your game. Don't overcomplicate it. Be patient. Be simple. Don't force anything. Now, here's where I'm at. I don't want the boys to come in thinking this weekend is going to be like the last 5 games because it's not. It's not. It just simply isn't. Again, no shots at Iron County, no shots at Colorado. They'll figure it out. They need time. They need time. It's hard to play against the Oilers, who have gone to nationals for the past 2 years, 3 years, and have aggressively grown to that point to be able to do that. It's hard to play in this division with the Oilers because they've done literally everything right. Fresno is coming in with something to prove back home in California in that Pacific Division, especially with Ontario and Lake Tahoe, that they're not just competing, but they are the top dogs. And they can do that by coming in and kicking Vernal off the throne, giving them their first loss. So they're going to come in pumped up. They're going to come in super hyped, ready to play. I would not expect us to put up 70 shots a night against this team. Would not expect that. That would be insane if we were able to. But I think if we're going to be patient and not force these passes, we should be looking at that 40 to 50 shot mark, maybe a little less as we get deeper into this series, because stamina is going to be a huge thing that comes in. I am expecting a battle. And this series is going to come down to how many shots Fresno's are going to get on Hedgie, or whoever plays, because Pratley played great these last two games. Shout out to Pratley. Whew, looked great. Great rebound control, and we know how much I love rebound control. Good rebound control, good positioning, looked great. So I'd expect him to come in and probably get some time this series, because you're going to need that as you get into nationals. Not even nationals, but to the showcase, because you play one after another when it comes to games. I think it's 4 days in a row that you're playing. So you're going to need, to let Hedgie rest that time. So I would expect to see Bradley. I would expect to see Blaine, one of those two this weekend. But if I'm riding the hot hand, I'm riding Bradley because he did look really good. So how many shots are Fresno going to get on the goalies? And stamina. Are you going to be able to maintain the forecheck and the pressure in your zone for 3 games? We did against Seattle, right? We looked great against Seattle. But Seattle also beat themselves and didn't help because of the hatred that they have for us because of what we've done to them in the past in the regular season, in the postseason, knocking them out, us going to the Nationals instead of them, so on and so forth. So with that hatred, they pushed further and did some dumber things, especially in that second game when they were up 2-0, and then it was 4-2 like that. Fresno does not have that. I don't expect chippy bullshit like we got with Seattle. And that was on both sides. It wasn't just Seattle. We did some stuff too. Granted, it was more in response for what Seattle was doing, but I don't expect chippy bullshit. I do expect the first period on Friday's game to be a set the tone, hard hitting, and trying to find a goal or two off of a mistake. And that's going to be on both sides. We talk about this with Braden. We have the deepest team when it comes to, I feel, the western half of the country in the Premier League. The Jets, the Minnesota Mullets, the Spacemen, they're there too. And we're going to see 2 of those teams at the showcase next month. But this series is all going to come down to playing smart, playing patient, not getting too hyped up, playing your game, having fun. And like Herb Brooks said, this weekend, I don't give a damn about the name on the back of your jersey. I only care about the logo on the front. This one right here. This is what we care about this weekend. It's all about the front of the logo. It's all about setting the tone so that when you go into the showcase next month, you're the top dog. You're the top dog. Not we're looking up, we're looking down. Y'all are peons compared to us. Folks, this is going to be a huge weekend series. And we're at home Friday, Saturday. Both of those are 8:35 face-off times. Sunday is 1:30. As far as I know, it's Military Appreciation Weekend, so be there because we'll have some cool stuff there. But if you're listening to this and not planning to go, figure it out. Figure it out because Friday, Saturday are going to be 2 of the better games that you will see here in Vernal that are not playoff games. or not even finals, because generally we roll through the first 2 rounds of playoffs, and then the finals is where it gets good. This is going to be a finals-like playoff weekend games. So get on out, support these guys, come have some fun. You can get tickets at vernaloilers.com/tickets, or you can come get them at the door. But, and I can't say this enough, we didn't get to look forward to Seattle. We would have kind of run through the same things. This I can't say it enough. This weekend's going to be huge. This weekend's going to be fun. It is going to be aggressive. It is going to be hard hitting. It is going to be tone setting. It is going to be who can get a goal at the right time, at least at the beginning, to set momentum up through the rest of the game, through the rest of the series. Because like I said, Fresno's coming in with something to prove. Fresno is absolutely coming in with something. But with that, we'll turn it over to Braedyn. After the interview, because we looked ahead now, we're not going to have anything after the interview, so I'll say it now. But thank you for listening. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, drop a comment. Those help rise us up the charts. I appreciate you guys listening every weekend. It gives me just goosebumps seeing everything. And then you can find us on Facebook. We have the Rig Podcast Facebook page. On my Instagram, at the Only Big Tiny. On TikTok, at the Rig Podcast, where you'll be able to see snippets of the interview in video form. And then on YouTube, the Rig Podcast, you'll be able to see the full podcast in video, where you can see what I look like and see just how much fun that we have on these interviews with the boys. So, again, appreciate it. Love you guys. Thank you. Peace out. This week's guest hails from Mesa, Arizona. The GM said, and I love this, an abrasive, hostile player who is not popular amongst his opponents. He did say that. It was on when they announced that you signed. He is the October 24th Defensive Player of the Week for the USPHL Northwest Division, number 22, Braedyn Mooney. What's up?
Nothing much. It's good to be here. I'm excited.
I'm glad to have you here. I told everyone when you were the next guest, everyone was super excited. I told Toth, I told Logan, Powers that you were the next guest, and they go, that'll be a good one. That'll be a good one.
Yeah, man. I saw them doing it, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. I was listening to it, and I was like, man, they're doing good. I gotta step it up when I go.
Yeah, no, I love doing this. This is so much fun. It's just something that I just came up with and was like, all right, let's go. And then with Keanu and Powers, we did just audio only. And then I found this, website that we're on to do videos, because people were like, you got to do videos. We got to, be able to look at them. So I was like, all right, let me figure it out. So, but yeah. So how do you, you can really only feel one way about the season so far, but how do you personally feel like it's going?
I like it. We're doing pretty good. It's a good start. We're starting off hot, and we're starting to score first finally. I was like, I don't know.
I'm not going to take credit for that. I won't take credit for that.
I would if I was you. That was definitely helpful, because it was crazy. We were just like, we wouldn't start well. I didn't know why, and then we started picking it up lately, and we're really working as a team well. So I like how it's starting so far this year.
Right, which is a good thing. Good thing going into this weekend, because this weekend I think is minus playoffs, minus showcases or whatever. This is probably one of the top 3 home series that the Oilers have played as far as talent coming in. Even though when we first talked, it wasn't Fresno supposed to be this great team. They were just kind of a middle of the pack in that kind of Pacific division, but they beat Ontario. They swept them, and it wasn't close.
Yeah, last year they were a real powerhouse. We went down there and played them. It was some good games. And this year, it was kind of weird at the beginning. They didn't play a lot of games at the beginning of the year, so nobody really knew what was going on. And then they started picking it up, and then they started rolling, and now they're playing really good against the best teams in that division. So it's going to be a really exciting series, and I think it'll be a really important test for our team, to be honest. I mean, it's
Yeah.
the best team we've played so far, so I'm hoping we can actually come together as a team and get it done.
Well, and this will be a good test, where you guys have actually all worked together now, right? Like the only game that this current roster really has played without the additions of, Jack or I guess really only Jack's the only one, but you only had one game against Seattle with Sammy, with Roni, with Casper all on the same line, and stuff like that. And that was just that Sunday game against Seattle. So to be able to see everyone in action against a good team that I haven't watched a ton of film on, but enough to kind of get an idea about. I think you're right. It'll be a great test going into the showcase next month.
Yeah, it's really important for the showcase too because like we can't just play like easier teams all the time. We have to play challenges to like continue to get better. We can't get lax and stay the same because other teams in other divisions that are doing the nationals are grinding every day. We have to grind every day, even if our division or our competition isn't like up to their levels.
Right. Yep. I agree. We'll get more to that here in a minute, but I just want to talk about, growing up. Started out, it looked like playing just hockey locally in Arizona, to Tahoe Prep to Vernal in 4 years. Like, that's a pretty quick grind.
Yeah, I mean, I was playing for fun. I grew up playing. My dad liked the ice rink because it was cold and the summers in Arizona are hot. So he signed me up, and I've been playing since I was a kid. Took a couple year break to play football. I realized I was not good at football at all. Sport. And so then I went back to hockey. I started taking it serious again, and then I went to Tahoe to go play some AAA hockey, and that really helped me make steps in my game. It really made me the player who I am. And then I came over to Vernal. The old coach recruited me, Mike Janello, and he came to a showcase in CCM in Denver after the second year at Tahoe, and they saw me. Man, I really think you could help our team. We just went to nationals, didn't have a great showing, but we really want to build on that and get better. And that's really what they've done, to be honest, since he's been talking to me.
Yeah, no, agreed. And I've mentioned this with everyone that's been on. You kind of being in the second year. The last two guests with Powers and Press, they had both been here for 3 years, so they've kind of seen this growth. But it has been an aggressive 3 year growth with this team to get to nationals, compete in nationals, to now win nationals. And it has been a meteoric rise that I don't know many other teams that could have done this.
Yeah, it's really cool. David's a really good owner, and Ryan's a really good coach, and they really like are trying to build a culture here. And, like that's how it's risen so fast. Is because like they sell the culture, everyone buys in, and it's a real thing that everyone's going for. It's like last year we were super close, like 4 games away. Didn't get swept like we did the first year, and it was like a real game. And we were leading against Potomac at it, who was supposed to win it all. They were like the powerhouse coming in, and then just couldn't get it done in the end. That was a tough one to watch. But this year, I'm hoping we can just go all the way and
Yeah.
make it.
And paying attention to, kind of the standings around the league. This showcase in December will kind of really show you what you need to work on, because the Jets are in first place. The Spacemen are in first place. Ontario is competing for first place. They sit in third right now after that sweep. But like everyone that you're going to play are first place teams.
Yeah, and that's honestly how I think it should be for showcases. You should definitely because there's 4 games really close together in time, so it really shows how you can do as a team because you're going to be a little tired, you're going to be a little banged up. It's about how you can perform while you're tired and banged up, which is all of playoffs and all of nationals as well. Just harder hockey. I think it'd be fun and an important test for us too as well.
Yeah, and I think that's something, another good thing that, Coach House and David have done is they've put together what I consider probably the deepest team when it comes to players. Probably more so on the forward position than the D position. Press agreed with that as well. But it's still deep, and you've got people that can play both. Jack will go back and forth and play forward and on defense. Micah will play forward and defense, and so to have those guys um, be able to do that. You started off as a forward and went D. Keanu started off as a forward and went D. So, it's just a deep team, and I think it's built perfectly for showcases, for nationals, for playoffs.
Yeah, you're totally right. We have 4 forward lines that can score and a fifth line that doesn't play every night that can also score just as well. Like, it's crazy. Like, I've never seen a team that has, like, 4 basically first lines per forward. It's crazy. And then you were talking about the guys that can switch back and forth. That's just because we have so many, like, great players, man. Like, not like me per se, but like, Keanu to switch back, and then he's running the power play. He's going to be leading the team. We had Lezo last year on the defensive end, but Keanu's kind of taken his place and run everything on the offense, which is really cool to see. And like Jack and Micah, they can do either, which is really helpful with injuries because we had a
Yep.
problem with that last year
Yep.
towards the end of the year. And so, with myself included, I was a little bit injured. But yeah, so that's going to help us later in the year and deeper in the run to make sure we're healthy and everyone can go.
Yeah. So last year, 33 games here in Vernal, 21 points. But this year, through 12 games, you have 14. What's kind of changed? Has it been mentally? Has it been physically? Has it been, what's
Yeah.
changed year to year?
Well, I think this year, honestly, I'm playing a little bit more on the defensive end. You get more ice time just as a whole because there's less lines. And we've had a couple suspensions. I've been really kicking it. And I worked hard over the summer. I was coming off that injury from my appendix. So I really had to dial it in the summer and like go to the gym every day and like skate a lot so I could keep up with everybody and continue to get better as everyone was getting better this summer as well. And so, man, I don't know. I'm starting off well, and I'm hoping it keeps going. To be honest, I don't know what I'm doing different. I'm hoping it keeps up. To be honest.
Yeah, I mean it's 8 points in your last 5 games. So I mean that's big. I mean taking advantage of who you've been playing, yeah, that goes into it a little bit. But you still have to
Yeah,
have
I didn't
momentum.
want to
You
say
still have
that.
to be in good positions. You still have to make passes. You still have to shoot. You still have to skate. You still have to do all these things to get points. So I don't want to discredit that like at all. But I think this weekend's just going to be a huge test, for everybody.
Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be a test for me. I don't think this will be a weekend where I'm putting up 8 points, 5 points. I think this is going to be a really tight, close game where like the players that make the plays will make the game. Like it's going to be whoever wants it more. Honestly, I think the skill is really close. So it should be. You're getting me excited already. It's going
Oh,
to be
dude,
good.
I've been looking forward to this series after they swept Bakersfield 2 weeks ago. I was like,
Oh
this
man.
is this is going to be an absolute banger of a test. I mean, I've got notes for days on what I think should be there, what I think whatever like my concerns. Really my only concern, and I guess from a defensive position, you can help this is keeping Hedgie from having to make a ton of saves because he's going to be going from 17 to 24 to Fresno, who's put up an average of 42 shots in their last 5 games. So, is there something that you guys have already put into game plan or something that you're going to be working on later this week? And I don't need the full details. I don't want the full details, but is that something that has been talked about? Is, you know, making sure Hedgie doesn't have to take 45, 50 shots?
Yeah, in film, we've been checking out things, checking out looks they do to make sure we can limit how many shots he takes. Because you're right, he hasn't really been like tested this year at all, and we like it that way. It's easier game for him, easier game for us. He's going to make all the saves in the world, especially when we're 15, 17. That's like one goal maybe, and it's
Yep.
going to be a lucky. But yeah, so against Fresno, we're gonna have to just buckle down and just play more physical. I think that's like the biggest thing. I think when you play physical and they have shots, most of the shots are from the outside. Easier saves for the goalie. But if it's like not playing physical, they're cutting middle, cutting through, getting breakaways, it's going to be a lot tougher.
Yeah, so some of my notes, and you can just tell me if I'm on kind of where, what we're looking at. So I've got relentless forechecking, have to be relentless. The teams that have beat Fresno so far this year, especially the 2 games against the Lakers are good, Lake Tahoe Lakers, which is a terrible name, by the way, but we'll move past that. They're good on the forecheck. So relentless forecheck. In the defensive zone, you guys need to smother the players, but not overextend, not overreach. Pretty simple, but don't turn the puck over in your defensive zone.
That's a big one, to be honest, with what's been going on.
I mean,
I don't know.
It's a pretty simple thing to throw out there. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's easy by any point, by any means, but
No, it should be. When you make the game simple, you don't make those plays like that. If you're not throwing it sauce pass middle, then you probably won't get picked off on the blue line for a breakaway. You just got to make the simple plays up the walls, back down, chip about.
Right.
Basic hockey games.
Yeah, and then I've got on the power play, they love to go backdoor cross ice to Popchev, or Popchev, however you say. I think it's Popchev. But every time that I've seen it, he sets up on the left-hand side of the ice, the opposite of what Roney does, and they try to feed him backdoor every single time. So making sure he's not open.
Yeah, that's another one we're going to have to focus on, because that's been kind of a little lax on our PK so far this year, is the backdoor. That's where they've gotten the majority of their chances. So we're definitely going to be on that and dialing it in, because they have that play, and it's a really good play, but we need to lock it down for in general games as well, because that's been this problem.
You better tell Hauser and Mitch to extend that office, because I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm going to look damn good in a suit just like Mitch does. So he always has the craziest shirts on, and I love it. So far this year, in most of the games, you've been partnered with Keanu. You've been partnered with Newell as of late. What's the difference in playing with both those guys? What do you have to do different, especially with Keanu being more offensive? And I feel like Newell's a little bit more on the defensive side. So how does it work switching back and forth between those two, and how do you have to play different?
It's mostly a mindset for me. Like when I'm playing with Keanu, I'm like, okay, I know he's going to go up. He's a really offensive force. Like I have to make sure I'm staying back more, because he's really good at offense. I'd rather him go up than me. And like we can't have both the defensemen up, so it's really just like a mindset thing for me. And the pregame warm-ups, I'll do different things depending on what side I'm playing for. If I'm playing with Newell, I know he stays back more, so I can play more offense and be more aggressive and a little bit dangerous. I'll know he'll be back for me, and I can get back quick. And like Keanu gets back quick as well, but it can't be a 2-on-0. It has to be a 2-on-1 at least, because if it's 2-on-0, he can't get back in time.
Right.
But yeah, that's the main thing for me. It is a little difficult, I won't lie. I like when I know who I'm playing with, so I can like practice that way during the week. But so stuff happens, and it's good to be a Swiss Army knife. You can just be put anywhere and be an attribute to the team, which is how I think I've stayed in the team so long. I can really just go anywhere and help the team out.
Right. So with Arizona, you just flew back home, went and saw the Cardinals beat the Bears, which was, I'm sure, a fun game. Connor looked great. Like it was awesome.
Yeah,
so
one game.
Hockey wise, were you a Coyotes fan, or did you go out of state?
R.I.P. Coyotes. They'll always be in my heart. Always. Yeah.
Sorry.
There they are. Hopefully they can come back in a few years. But yeah, growing up, I went to a few games. The stadium was the big reason why they moved. It was like something crazy, like 95% of season ticket holders lived an hour away from the stadium. So like that's just not a sustainable business plan. But I went to a few games growing up. They were my team growing up. Loved Clayton Keller. He's great. But now I got to be like a hockey club.
So did you just naturally move with them so that you could stick with Doan and Cooley and?
I have my prized possession is the Shane Doan signed puck that I got when I was like 10. So I'm gonna have to stay with the Doans. If the Coyotes come back sometime, become a team again, I'll have to go back, unfortunately. wish the guys the best in Utah. But until then, I'm gonna just stick with Utah.
Did you go to that game last week with everyone?
No, I think I'm planning on going to one in a couple weekends here. Well, there's a couple of games that we can pick from, and I picked one of the later ones. I'm pretty sure
Okay,
it was the Avalanche game. I want to
that'll
pick
be
in
that'll
too.
be good. They looked
Yeah.
so bad against the Avs the last time they played them a couple weeks ago. They were just slow and
Oh,
just they looked so bad. So
yeah. I picked them because like Makar is a really awesome player to
yep,
watch in person, and so is McKinnon. I've seen them both in person before, which was awesome. So it'd be awesome to see them again and against a different uniform, but the same team basically.
yeah. I got to go to an Avalanche game. My brother, who was the announcer last year, he got us tickets, and this was for Adam Foote's retirement, his jersey retirement, and
Oh,
Solani's first game of his last season with the Ducks. And he got tickets like 13 rows up, and me and my two brothers and my dad all went, and it was so cool. I think it was McKinnon's first or second year. Patrick Waugh was the coach, and he tried to fight Bruce Boudreau from the Ducks like through the glass. Like it was just absolutely insane. But yeah, I think it was McKinnon's second year because I think he had just run the Rookie of the Year before. But he's so fast, and watching McCarr play, his feet and his movement there on the blue line is ridiculous.
I be trying to like replicate, and I like in practice, just messing around. I'll just fall. I don't know how he does it. It's crazy. He just like he levitates on the
It's
ice.
like a half crossover backwards while moving to the side. Like I don't.
I don't know how he doesn't fall like the whole time. It's like, bro, you look so off balance, but he's so on balance, and he can just do whatever from that position. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's absolutely wild. So, what are you doing when you're not on the ice?
I'm in the gym sometimes. I'm trying the food around here. I like all the food trucks around. And video games, Fortnite. I've always been a Fortnite guy since back in the day. But yeah, mostly hockey right now. I mean, it takes up most of my time, and I'd be watching my own film and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's really just time.
Do you remember your first dub in Fortnite?
Oh man, oh yeah. Yeah, it was me and my friend. We were playing on our laptops that our parents gave us in my garage in winter, and we got one. We just started yelling at like 11:30. Our parents came down and started yelling. I'm like, I'm sorry, but yeah, it was so worth it in the end.
I got my first solo dub. This would have been 2000, probably 2017, maybe early 2018. I was at lunch from my job and wanted to get one in real quick. And I remember with the controller, just like, as I'm like trying to get into position to to finish it off and finally do it and get that first dub, and I ran around the room. This is when Fortnite like the building had just kind of barely started. This was season
Yeah.
like 3 or 4 or whatever, and
Oh,
so way early. So just being able to say that I got a solo dub was like it was
oh man,
huge. It
it
was
was
absolutely
gold.
massive. Yeah.
It was gold. Send it to all your friends. Be like, oh, look at this guy.
Yeah.
Oh my,
Yeah. Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. And then I never got one in Warzone. I never got a solo dub in Warzone or anything like that. But
Yeah, Warzone's hard.
yeah, Warzone's a crazy game.
I got some squad wins, but I don't know
Yeah.
if I even played solos. It was so hard. It was so big, so many people couldn't do it.
Yeah. Do you play, is Chell anything that you play, or are you mostly just
Yeah,
kind of Battle Royale?
yeah. When I back in the day, like when I was like in elementary and junior high, I was a little bit bigger. Didn't really go outside as much, especially like when I took an off year of sports. That was a bad choice. But yeah, I played a lot of games. I played them all. And Chell's fun. I run it with the boys all the time. I sometimes lose and they make fun of me. But sometimes I win, and that's always fun because it doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Let's see. What do we got here? So we already talked kind of about Fresno coming up, what you guys are doing. Is there any shows, movies that you're invested in?
oh man, I was watching the new. I was really hoping the new Deadpool was good, and it was pretty good, but it wasn't as good as I thought it would be. I'm not gonna lie.
It
And I
wasn't the
was a little
first one.
That's what I was saying. I was like, hopefully they can recreate the first one, but it was still decent. I liked it. It was still a good watch.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, I haven't been watching much really. In the off season, I've been watching a lot of stuff. I finish a bunch of shows, a bunch of movies, but during the season, I just like there's just a lot of stuff I've been doing. I got homework, all types of stuff, so I
Yeah.
don't really have a time to.
Well, if you're looking for something to watch while you're running or doing the elliptical, the Penguin on Max is
Oh,
phenomenal.
I've seen some clips of that. Is it?
Phenomenal. Love
Okay,
it.
I'll have to
Love
check
it.
it out. I've seen it for sure. I think someone else mentioned that to me, but I'll definitely have to. You know what? I'll try it tonight. I'll watch an episode tonight and
Yeah.
start it.
It's
Oh yeah,
so good. So good.
that's
Um
awesome.
Game day routine. Do you have any superstitions? Do you have, anything that you have to do on a game day?
Um, and I don't really have anything crazy. Some people have some crazy stuff that they do every time. I'm like, I can't do something every time because if I have a bad game, then why would I do it again? So I kind of do the one thing that I'll do the same is I put one skate on and then I tape my sock and then I put the other skate on and I tape my sock. That's kind of the one thing I do, I would say. But I've just done that forever. But no matter what it is, I'll do one skate at a time.
Yeah,
But that's
I
kind of
know. I know. So Keanu has to put his pants on last. It's always
yeah,
pants on last. Powers is PB and J every game day. That's all he's eating is PB and J. Toth didn't really have anything. Mine is just he has to try to get a nap in. Like that's on game
yeah.
days. He has to try to get a nap in. So
I always think it's fun to see the differences. You got someone who puts his pants on last, someone who just needs to eat a PB and J, and there's a couple others I can't think of right now. Levy's are good. I forget what it is, but it's like it's always cool to see everyone's personalities coming through in their routines and stuff.
yeah, no, I agree, and that's just something that I love asking and figuring out. When Powers was like, I have to eat PB and J. That was right before that statistic came out that the Athletic did or wherever, where they found out how many. It's
Oh
like
yeah,
like
crazy,
70,000 uncrustables that the NFL eats a year, and
crazy.
the
Four
in
hundred a game, like what?
well, yeah, the Broncos ate like 700 a day. Like it
Yeah,
is on game days. It's absolutely wild. Absolutely
yeah.
wild.
I don't know how they can even eat that many. Like, I don't even like eating that much on game days. I'll have a little bit of pregame meal. If it's breadsticks, I'll usually have a couple of breadsticks, and that's it. Call it good.
Yeah. Yeah. So hockey nerds, there's really no hockey nerds, but I always say hockey nerds. I'm sure there are hockey nerds, but stick, skates, what are you using?
I use for my stick right now. I am using a Trigger 9. I used the Trigger 6, and I liked it, or Trigger 7 last year that I got off Powers because he changed his flex. And I really liked that one. And I broke it, and David was like, "Hey, here's a list of sticks you can get from like our buying station." I was like, "Okay," and then I was like, "What looks cool?" I was like, "Hyperlight 2." I've heard bad things about that, so I just went with the Trigger 9. Skates, I got Bowers though. I had the Hyperlights for a while. That was really cool when I got those. Before then, I was using some clunky boots.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, that's gonna a helmet. I'm using normally I use a CCM, but I'm using a Warrior this year. My old one was too beat up. I
Oh, I've always liked Warrior helmets. Like they've always, even when, I think it was 2009 NHL came out and it was the Be a Pro for the first time. I always went Warrior helmet. It always looked sleek. But everything else I went Bauer. Like I've got a pair of old Viper or Vapor Bauer skates that I use that I haven't put on in God probably
oh
10 years. But
my
like I've
favorite
got old
stick
Vapors.
is like definitely the Flylight, the one for the Hyperlight. That got me to Power. I used to use Warrior sticks, and someone's like, "Man, you gotta try the Flylight. It's a game changer." And that was like I don't know 4 or 5 years ago now,
Yeah.
and I tried it. It's like, wow, this is the truth. And then
One of the craziest sticks, and this is one that my buddy used. I want to see if I can find it. Was it no? It was either a CCM or an Easton.
oh, and
Um,
Houston, that's a throwback.
it wasn't a snake. Is it the ripcord? Is that? Does yours have little like it's almost like they called it like snake skin, but it was
Oh,
like grooved all the way up, and
yeah,
it was
I
the
know what you're talking.
weirdest thing. But my buddy had one because his parents, could afford stuff because he was basically an old child. So, and us playing hockey was literally just like drop in every week for like an hour and a half. Um, but yeah, he had the craziest stick, and I always loved it because it just was ribbed from bottom all the way to top.
Yeah, they came out with or Bauer had that like five-sided one, the sink. I didn't really like that. I couldn't like find a grip on it that much. I
Yeah,
had like a on it feeling awkward, so I tried that. I was gonna buy one of those, realized I didn't like the grip. I was like, nah, I'll just go back to the CCM and change it up.
yeah. Favorite Oilers game that you've been a part of?
Man, it has to be. Oh, I don't know. Like, is it when I had the played in?
Just be a part of. You're on the team, so
Okay, then it has to be win the division. That was really awesome. I wasn't unfortunately on the ice. I was like a day out of surgery, but it was a great time anyway. I was being careful, really careful, but I was celebrating crazy all the time because it
yeah.
was so cool.
I don't know if I'm going to get too many people that played last year that are going to disagree with that. I think that's probably going to be the overwhelming game. I mean,
Man, that was a crazy. We dropped the game. It went to the game 3 or whatever. And I was just, oh my goodness, this is gonna be
dropped
so.
dropped game 2, went to game 3, was down 2-0, and then fought back. Like,
Yeah, oh my gosh. I was sitting next to David that whole game. His face was white as a ghost in the beginning of that game, and I was white as a ghost. We were just like, oh, please don't do this to us.
yeah,
And then, of course, we did like we always do and brought it back and got the dub.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
that awesome theatrics at the end, too. That was crazy.
yeah. No, that's probably my favorite call from my brother is when um who was it that scored? I think it was Gordon Stayev scored to make it 2-2, and that's probably my favorite call of his.
Yeah,
Because he didn't get. It's hard to get excited about every goal when it's 8-2, 9-2, whatever. So to make
don't
it
mean
two
it.
two, to make it 3-2, like he was pumped, and so that's my favorite call of his.
Yeah, like it's crazy because in close games, like without even meaning to, the emotion just gets higher
Yep,
in your voice.
yep,
It's all the adrenaline, how cool it is. The emotion just gets crazy in the voice. Get some awesome calls from announcers all the time. But yeah, that was crazy. I can't even. Man, looking back on it, it was so cool just to experience and be part of, even if it wasn't on the ice. Like watching it, it was almost just as cool as watching the people. As soon as we had that, it was like the bench went crazy. I was
yep,
like, oh, this is
yep,
awesome.
yep. So what's next? What are your future goals? What ambitions do you have?
Yeah, for me, I think I'm not looking to go pro. I'm looking to play some Osha somewhere. I'm really liking the state of Utah, so I've been looking at some Utah schools because like everyone out here is really awesome. Everyone out here is really kind, and so I'm looking out here. And if I don't find anywhere good, I'll probably go back to Arizona and play some Osha down there. Your family, probably ASU for my mom went, so I could get the what is it called? I don't know where your kid went there, whatever it's called.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I a legacy.
Yeah,
I
there
think
it
it's
is.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, a
All right.
legacy.
Legacy. But yeah, but really just like I'm just looking to play some hockey and get my degree. Like I play hockey, like I'm gonna keep playing in college for sure because it helps my mind stay right. And just like if I'm having a bad day, I can just go play some hockey and then
Yep.
it'll be good. So I'm looking to play through and then I'll play my throughout. But there comes a time when I'm just like, yeah, I'm not pro ready. Like I can try all I want, but I'm just like having fun with it at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's moving forward is you get older and stuff. That's the most important thing is finding something that you enjoy, find something that you have fun with, so you're not there's too many miserable people that hate their
Yeah,
jobs or whatever. It just I've been there. It sucks. It's terrible. So just find something that you enjoy doing and, you can be happy with, every day.
Yeah, I gotta find some jobs. 'Cause these summer jobs I've been picking up have not been good, so I'm gonna have to find something that really interests me. But I'm excited for it, and I know I'll always just like turn to hockey, even if it's not great. Other parts of my life aren't great. I'll always have men's
Yep.
league and stuff, so that's always nice to have.
I've found that with football it's a little bit easier, but with at least lately with my job, but that's how it was with reffing. Like and now kind of it's changed from reffing because that season's over to now this podcast or doing the games on the weekends and stuff like that. Is there's always kind of something to look forward to. When this season ends, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. It's gonna be terrible, but it's even if it's something that's just one time a week or whatever to look forward to is worth it. So
Yeah, for sure. That's what it's about, really, is finding little things like that because you want to have fun. You don't wanna be miserable all the time because then you're miserable to the people around you and stuff. So that's what I'm looking forward to is really just being happy and having a great time.
yep, for sure. So last question, and this is one that I forgot to ask Press last week, so I got to get his answer.
Okay.
But take me to a hockey moment that you could go back to, NHL, Olympics, whatever, that you would like to witness in person.
Oh man, this might sound crazy, but the goal Ovechkin scored on his back where he like went around his
Okay.
head.
Yep.
Yeah, that one I would love to see that in person. I personally think that's one of the greatest goals of all time. Even who it was against and whatever, like it was just such a
What
smooth.
wasn't it against the Coyotes?
Perhaps it might have been.
I think it was.
Yeah, but that's a realistic one I could have seen in person. So I would have liked to see that. I would have if it had to happen to my team. I would have liked to see it in person.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Mine's always been the first Winter Classic. Seeing Sid win that game in overtime and jumping around on the ice with the snow falling down,
That's
or
great.
or when Ray Bork, lifted the cup, because that was, a huge hockey moment. And, but that's also one that watching on TV and hearing Gary Thorne, with his line gets me goosebumps literally every time listening to it.
Yeah,
So.
there's always perks to seeing it in person and online or on the TV or whatever. But yeah, man, like I was those are both amazing too. Like I don't even know what. There's so many awesome plays that you can choose from. Just every year. It's like,
Yep.
oh,
Yep.
I would have loved to see that. Like, oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, no, I've been since following this and doing everything that I have. My Facebook feed is just full of just hockey shit. The 3PHL. I've got NASHL. I've got all of this stuff, and there was a huge save by a goalie in the 3HL that was like some crazy shit that I haven't seen. Oh, it was wild. It was wild. So it's been fun to be on Facebook lately, getting past everything that's going to happen tomorrow. But with, just the nonstop hockey highlights has been awesome.
Yeah, that's how my feed is on Instagram. It's just straight hockey. I see hockey clips from back in the day, hockey clips now, big hits. It's just always awesome.
Yep.
It just gets me in a good mood.
Yep, for sure. But game 1, 2, and 3, big weekend series this weekend at home. And like I said at the very beginning, I think this is probably one of the bigger series that we've ever hosted. So I will see you guys this weekend, and just want to get everyone out and show some support for you guys, and show the love that this city has for you guys. So.
We're going to be proud of this for sure.
Yep, for sure. All right, everybody, this was Braden Mooney. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you this weekend.